Good morning, dear students. Here, today's topic is Two Sides of Life. It is the first lesson from the prose written by Booker T. Washington. So before going to the topic, just we'll have a glance at the objectives. So, here there are the four objectives the writer wants to uh, introduce to you. What are those four objectives? We'll see, right? Now, first objectives to make the learner know the value of life. Here, the writer wants to tell the listeners to know the value of life. What is the value of life? Right? The second objective is to show to the learners how people think in terms of understanding men and matters. So, how people understand the life. To enable the learners to know the role of a teacher in the classroom in molding the young minds into the future citizens. So, how classroom is useful to mold the young minds to the future citizens. To inculcate in the students a sense of respect and responsibility towards their teachers. Here, students how they should show the respect towards the teachers and also the elders. Right? These are the four objectives writer wants to tell to the listeners. Now, we'll go into the topic. Before going to that one, we'll see about the writer. And who is the writer here? Booker T. Washington. Booker Taliaferro Washington. His life period is 1856 to 1915. Was born into slavery and rose to become a leading African American intellectual of the 19th century. He founded Tuskegee Normal and Industrial Institute, now Tuskegee University, in 1881, and the National Negro Business League two decades later. He was an American educator, author, orator, and advisor to several presidents of United States. Between 1890 and 1915, Washington was the dominant leader in the African American community and the contemporary black elite. His life and industry are the hallmarks of his personality. So here, Booker T. Washington, he was born in a slave family, but he became a famous leading African American person in this America. And he founded the Tuskegee Normal and Industrial Institute. Now it is known as the Tuskegee University in 1881. And also he founded National Negro Business League 2 decades later. After 1881, after finding this Tuskegee University, after 2 decades, he founded National Negro Business League. And he was also a famous American educator. He's an author, and also he is also an orator, and also advisor to several presidents of United States. So he was a main important person. He used to give advices to the US presidents. And in 1890 to 1915, between this period, he was the dominant leader in the African American community. His life and industry are the hallmarks of his personality. So his life is a hallmark that shows his personality. Now, next we'll go with the topic. Here, this was the speech given by Booker T. Washington, and this speech is divided into 3 segments. Right? First segment and second and third segment. Now we'll go with the first segment. There are quite a number of divisions into which life can be divided, but for the purpose of this evening I am going to speak of 2, the bright side of life and the dark side. So he was giving speech, and he is telling that the life is divided into two divisions. What is the first one? First one is the bright side, and second one is the dark side. In thought, in talk, in action, I think you will find that you can separate life into these 2 divisions. So in your action, in your speaking, that in your thinking, the life can be divided into 2 segments, 2 divisions, the dark side and the bright side. That is, dark side is what? Discouraging side, that is a negative side, and the bright side is what? Positive side or the encouraging side. you will find that there are two classes of people, just as there are two divisions of the subject. Here the life is divided into two segments, and again the people are divided into two classes. There is one class that is schooling itself and constantly training itself to look upon the dark side of life. And there is another class made up of people who are consciously or unconsciously constantly training themselves to look upon the bright side of life. Here two types of people are there. One is who always wanted to who always sees the dark side, so they always discourage themselves. If they do not do any work, that means they will get upset and they will think that this work is not done by me, so they won't encourage themselves to do that work. They will see only the dark side of life, that is they will be discouraged themselves. Next, the other part of people are those who see the bright side of the life. So they will try and try until they get success. Those people are called encouraging people or positive skilled people. They will see only the bright side of life. Now, it is not wise to go too far in either direction. The person who schools himself to see the dark side of life is likely to make a mistake. And the person who schools himself to look only upon the bright side of life, forgetting all else, also is apt to make mistakes. So he is telling that the people who see the dark side of life makes mistakes, and also the people who see the bright side of life also makes mistakes. So what kind of mistakes? Notwithstanding this, I think I am right in saying that the persons who accomplish most in this world, those to whom on account of their helpfulness the world looks most for service. Those who are most useful in every way are those who are constantly seeing and appreciating the bright side as well as the dark side of life. So those who are appreciating life, or those who want to get success in life, they will see the both sides, dark side and the bright side. After seeing the dark side, they will overcome that. They want to overcome the dark side and they will jump into the bright side of life. They will get success after overcoming all these hurdles and obstacles, and they will get through the bright side of life. You will sometimes find two persons who get up in the morning, perhaps morning that is overcast with shadows, a damp, wet, rainy, uninviting morning. So here he is taking one example. If you take two persons, those are getting up in the morning, perhaps how the morning is with damp, wet, rainy. So if when it rains, the total atmosphere will be somewhat gloomy, damp, and also the wet land, damp land, everything will be there when it is a rainy time. And one of these persons will speak of the morning as being gloomy. So he has taken the two persons. So one person is talking about this morning. So he has taken two persons, as well as he has taken the weather. How was the weather? The weather is very gloomy. So he has taken first person. How the first person takes this weather? He will speak that the weather is gloomy, the morning is gloomy, and he will speak of mud puddles about the house, of the rain, and of all the disagreeable features. So when it rains heavily, if it is a delicate house, it will fall down, and all the mud pebbles all will be there. So here the negative thinker, the person who thinks who sees the dark side of life, what he will tell the negative things of the rain. That means this morning is very gloomy, dull, and he will talk about the mud pebbles of the house, and also he will always see the negative features of that morning. The second person, the one who has schooled himself to see the brighter side of life, the beautiful things in life. So the second person, those who see the bright side of life and beautiful things of life, how he speaks about that nature. Now we'll see. He will speak of the beauties that are in the raindrops. So those who see the bright side of life, they will enjoy the nature. They will speak about the beauty what he sees in the raindrops and the freshness of the newly bathed flowers. So after raining, if you see the flowers will blossom with freshness, with a sweet smell, and the raindrops on the leaves and the flowers will look very beautiful. Shrubs and trees, notwithstanding the gloomy and generally disconsolate appearance of things, he will find something attractive in the scene out of doors, and will discover something in the gloomy morning that will cheer him. So the person who sees the bright side of life, he will enjoy the nature, and he will enjoy the rain droplets and the freshly bathed flowers, the shrubs and greenery, whatever we see after rain, the nice smell, the greenery. That the second person, that means who he is seeing the positive side, who is seeing the bright side of life, he will enjoy that nature. So this is the difference between the people who see the dark side of life as well as the bright side of life. Suppose that you see these same two persons eat their breakfast. So he has taken again the two persons with example of breakfast. Perhaps they will find out the rolls are bad, but the coffee is excellent. So they are having the breakfast with rolls and also with coffee, and here rolls are very bad, but coffee is excellent. If the rolls are poor, it is a great deal better in such a case to get into the habit, a habit that you will find pace from every standpoint, or being able to being able to forget how unpalatable they are. So what is the meaning of unpalatable here? Here, meaning of unpalatable is not tasting good. So if it is not tastes good, we should not accept. It is hard to accept. It is not tasting good. Unpalatable they are, and where it is, and to let your thoughts dwell upon the good and satisfactory coffee. Call the attention of your near neighbor at the table to the excellence of coffee. So here, what you if the person who sees the bright side of life, what he will say, what he will do, he will appreciate the excellence of coffee, and he will invite the neighbor to taste the coffee. So he will put the rows apart. So he won't talk about the negative things. So rolls are not good, so just he will leave it. And coffee is excellent. Now he should appreciate the excellence of coffee and invite the others also to taste that coffee. But don't talk negative about that first breakfast. What is the first breakfast? Rolls. Leave that aside. But the person who sees the dark side of life, what they will do, they will always recall that the rolls are bad, rolls are bad, rolls are bad. Coffee is excellent. Why don't you talk about coffee, right? So like that. What is the result of that kind of schooling? You will grow up to be an individual whom people will like to see coming near them, an individual to whom people will go for encouragement when the hours are dark and when everything seems to be discouraging. So here, negative side people always see the negative side, dark side. They will always get discouraged. So you should see the positive side of life. So in the first segment, he has taken this example, and you can see some of the questions here from the first segment, and here glossary. A glossary like some meanings here. Accomplish means here achieve something. Appreciating means value something. Overcast, cloudy, dark, gloomy. Mud puddles, small muddy water pools. Disconsolate, extremely sad, gloomy, unhappy. Unpalatable, here you can say hard to accept, not tasting good. Dwell upon, to think or talk a lot about something. Okay, and dear students, remember that you have I think phonetic transcription, right? So while reading this one, while reading the glossary, you should remember the meaning as well as this phonetic part. Okay, phonetic part and also this parts of speech. Okay, parts of speech also you remember. If you read this one, this glossary part, you will get meanings. Okay, you will get phonetic transcription and also you will get parts of speech. Here totally you will cover three parts, three sections from this only meaning section. Right, now we'll go with the second segment of the speech. What is second segment? In just the same way, when you go into the classrooms to recite your lessons, do not dwell upon any mistakes that you may think you see the teacher make or upon any weakness in the presentations of the lesson. All teachers make mistakes sometimes, and you may depend upon it that it is an excellent teacher and a person of fine character who, when he or she had made a mistake, says frankly and plainly, I have made a mistake, or I don't know. It takes a very good and very bright teacher to say, I don't know. No teacher knows everything about every subject. A good teacher will say frankly and clearly, I don't know, I cannot answer the question. So here he has taken the second example in the second speech. What? When you go into the classroom, right? Uh, you should not concentrate on the teacher's mistakes, right? You should not concentrate on the mistakes. So all are not perfect. All teachers are not perfect. All will make mistakes. Okay, and you see here how he is appreciating the teacher. All teachers won't accept the mistakes. Only the excellent teacher, right? Excellent teacher and a person of fine character. So he is giving the compliment to the teachers. The excellent teacher and the person of fine character, they will accept the mistakes and they'll say frankly that they have made a mistake and also they don't know. So what he is telling, a good teacher, an excellent teacher only clearly and frankly says what they'll say. If they don't know the answer, they won't pretend. They will say, I don't know, I cannot answer the question. And what they will say, I will go through and I will clear your doubt the next time or the next period. So they clearly say, I don't know that one. So some people, what they do, they pretend. So the excellent teacher, they won't pretend. They will accept their mistake and they will tell that I can't tell that answer, I don't know that one. Let me tell you right here too that when you go out from here to become teachers yourselves, as a large proportion of you will go, whenever you get to a point where a student asks you a question which you are not able to answer or ask you something about the subject on which you are not well informed, you will find better to say frankly and honestly, I am unable to answer your question. So what he is telling, let me tell you, from here a large proportion of people will go for teaching, and when your student asks the question which you do not know, a topic which you do not know, so how you should answer? You should not pretend. What you must tell, you should frankly tell that I don't know, I am unable to answer your question. So what is telling, I am unable to answer your question. So you should not pretend that as you know. If you don't know, just you tell, I do not know. Your students will respect you a great deal more for your frankness and honesty. So here you will get more respect from the students for your honesty. Education is not what a person is able to hold in his head so much as it is what a person is able to find. So what he is telling, how is elaborating the education. Education is not what a person is able to hold in his head. So whatever you learned all these years, that just not putting that one in your head, but it is a person. It is that so much as it what person is able to find. So here the person should find what education is, not just remembering the topics which teachers said you in the class. You should research the topics. You should find what it is, what actually the education is. I believe it was Daniel Webster who said that the truly educated man was not the only was not the who had all knowledge in his head, but the one who knew where to look for the information upon any subject upon which at any time he might want information. Okay, what he's telling? Education was not the one who had all the knowledge in his head. Education is not the knowledge in what is you having in your head, but you should look for the information upon any subject which at any time he might want information. You should look for the information. You should search for the information what you don't know. Whatever the information you don't know, you must go in search of that information. Just don't sit like that. You should learn and learn. Each individual who wishes to succeed must get that kind of discipline. He must get such training that he will know where to go and get facts, rather than to train himself to hold all facts in his head. So how you get such kind of discipline, that you should go in search of education, that you should each individual who wishes to succeed must get the discipline, that kind of discipline. That means you must go in search of information. When you want to elaborate the education or the life, you must go in search of the information which you don't know. I want you to go out from this institution so trained and so developed that you will be constantly looking for the bright, encouraging and beautiful things in life. So when you leave this institution, how you must be trained in such a way that you should see the brighter side, encouraging side of the life. It is the weak individual, as a rule, who is constantly calling attention to the other side, to the dark and discouraging things of life. When you go into your classroom, I repeat, try to forget and overlook any weak points that you may think you see. So you should not see the dark side. You should overlook your weak points and you should overcome your weak points. Remember and dwell upon the consideration that has been given to the lessons, the faithfulness with which it is prepared, and the earnestness with which it is presented. Try to recall and to remember every good thing and every encouraging thing which has come under your observation. Whether it has been in the classroom or in the shop or in the field, no matter where you are, seize hold on the encouraging things with which you come in contact. So wherever you are, wherever in your class or in your field or in your shop, wherever you are, you should overcome the difficulties, you should overcome the hurdles, and you should see the brighter side of the life, and you should succeed in your life. In connection with the personality of the teachers, it is very unfortunate for students to form a habitat of continually finding fault, of criticizing, of seeing nothing but what the student may think are weak points. So unfortunately, some people, what they will see only the darker side. They will see the weak points of the teachers. Try to get into a frame of mind where you will be constantly seeing and calling attention to the strong and beautiful things which you observe in the life and work of your teachers. Grow into the habit of talking about the bright side of life. So don't see the weak points, just see the bright side. You see the positive things in your teacher. When you meet a fellow student, a teacher or anybody, or when you write letters home, get into the habit of calling attention to the brighter things of life that you have seen. The things that are beautiful, the things that are charming. Just in proportion as you do this, you will find that you will not only influence yourself in the right direction, but that you will also influence others that way. It is a very bad habit to get into that of being continuously moody and discouraged, and of making the atmosphere uncomfortable for everybody who comes within 10 feet of you. So here what he is telling, when you come across your teacher or your fellow students or your friends or anyone, don't talk about the negative things, don't talk about the weak points. That will what they will make, that will make the uh, atmosphere gloomy, the surroundings very gloomy, dull. So whether you have seen the weak points, just forget about the dark side. You should speak about the positive points of the persons or the teachers or your friend. That will make the atmosphere very encouraging, right? In this segment he has said this about the uh, teachers and also the classroom. Here also you have some meanings here. Recite means read aloud. Daniel Webster, he is American, famous American lawyer. And statements, seize means here to grab or catch hold of something. Now we'll see the third segment. There are some people who are so constantly looking on the dark side of life that they cannot see anything but that side. So you see here, we cannot change some people's mind. They will always see the dark side of the life only. Everything that comes from their mouths is unpleasant. So whatever they speak, that is unpleasant about this thing and that thing, and they make the whole atmosphere around them unpleasant for themselves and for everybody with whom they come in contact. Such people are surely undesirable. Why I have seen people coming up the road who caused me to feel like wanting to cross over onto the other side of the way so as not to meet them. I didn't want to hear their tales of misery and woe. I heard those tales so many times that I didn't want to get into the atmosphere of the people who told them. So you see that some people are very they will see always the dark side of life. So such kind of people are, whatever they speak, everything is negative. So they will tell about themselves that my life is like this, I have seen all obstacles. So always they will tell that only. They tell all the misery things that happen in their life. So here such kind of people, they will always will be discouraged them, they discourage themselves and also discourage the other people. So such kind of people should change their mind. So here it is often very easy to influence others in the wrong direction. So it is very easy to influence the people in wrong direction. Okay, bad things influence easily than good things, and to grow into such moody fault finding disposition that one not only is miserable and unhappy himself, but makes everyone with whom he comes in contact miserable and unhappy. So the person who sees the dark side of life, they themselves not only won't be happy, and also the person who comes in their way also make them also unhappy by telling all their misery tales. The person who live constantly in a fault finding atmosphere, who see only the dark side of life, become negative characters. They are the people who never go forward. So the people with negative characters, they cannot go forward. They never suggest a line of activity. They live simply on the negative side of life. So such kind of people, they won't grow in their life. Always they will stay where they are. They will see only the negative sides of life. Now, as students, you cannot afford to grow in that way. We want to send each one of you out from here, not as a negative force, but as a strong, positive, helpful force in the world. You will not accomplish this task which we expect of you if you go with a moody, discouraged, fine faulting disposition. To do the most that lies in you, you must go with a heart and head full of hope and faith in the world, believing that there is work for you to do, believing that you are the person to accomplish that work, and one who is going to accomplish it. So, as a student, you should not sit idle, you should not see the dark side, you should not be discouraged. What you have to do, that I can do this work, so I have positive attitude, I will do this work, I can do this work, and I will succeed by doing this work. Like that, you have to think. In 9 out of 10 cases, the person who cultivates the habit of looking on the dark side of life is the little person, the miserable person, the one who is weak in mind, heart, and purpose. So, what he is telling, out of 10 cases, 9 cases of people are cultivates the habit of looking the dark side. Like what? They are weak in the mind, weak in their work, weak in the heart, and weak in their purpose. So they will see they always see the darker side of life. They won't get success in the life. So out of 10, 9 are like that. On the other hand, the person who cultivates the habit of looking on the bright side of life and who calls attention unto the beautiful and encouraging things in life, in 9 cases out of 10, the strong individual, the one to whom the world goes for intelligent advice and support. So here also is telling, out of 10, 9 people, those see the brighter side of life, they are strong in the mind. So they think that the world goes for intelligent advice and support. I'm trying to get you to see as students the best things of life, best things in life. Do not be satisfied with second hand or third hand things in life. So, as a person who sees the bright side of life, you should not satisfy with the second hand things or the third hand things. Do not be satisfied until you have put yourself into that atmosphere where you can seize and hold on the very highest and most beautiful things that can go out of life. So you should not satisfy with the things what you get, you should try for the better things, right? This is what he is telling in this speech. And here also we have two glossary meanings. Woe means here sadness or grief. Disposition means character, nature, and temperament. So overall, what he wants to tell in our lesson, two sides of life. What are two sides of life? The darker side and the brighter side. Darker side is what? The person who is always discouraged. They won't overcome the obstacles. They won't get success in their life. And the people who see the bright side of life, they have the positive attitude. They will always think that they can do the work, they have the capacity to do the work, and they will get success in the life. They will overcome the obstacles, they will overcome the hurdles, and they will get the success in the life. So this is about our lesson. What is our lesson? Two sides of life. Just go through this lesson once again, meanings as well as meanings, okay, and the objectives. First go through the objectives, go through the writer, and go through these 3 segments of speech, right? Thank you, children.